Hi there, my name is Richard Dorton, and I play the left head of King Ghidorah, a.k.a. Kevin.
Hello, I'm Jason Liles, and I play the center head of King Ghidorah and a little bit of Rodan as well.
And I am Alan Maxson, and I play the right head of King Ghidorah. No clever nickname.
Hi, my name is TJ Storm. I play the tail of... Wait, that's not right. I play Godzilla.
I do wish you played the tail, though.
So did you guys like the movie? Who saw it? Who saw it only once? Who saw it twice? 3 times? 4 times?
Who has never seen it yet? Oh, we got a couple people.
You gotta watch spoilers. No spoilers.
Well, do we?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. You might
It's
have
been
to.
out for a
we
couple
can tell
of
you to
weeks.
plug your ears if we do a spoiler. Okay, he's good with spoilers, so.
I think you mentioned.
Richard, what is motion capture? How did you play the head
How
of
did I play the head of King Ghidorah, left head, Kevin? So we are all creature actors and monster performers, but King Ghidorah and Godzilla was brought to life with motion capture and performance capture. So if you're not familiar with that, we wear the funny little Lycra suits with the balls all over that show where our joints are and rotation. And so we wear the suit, we create the movement for the characters, and they drop the animated version of that character on top of our skeleton. So that's basically how we brought King Ghidorah to life in the animated version. You know, the high-end animation of our creatures. So we weren't in suits, you know, practical suits like the predecessors before us, but this new technology, which has been around for quite a bit, we use it for video games and stuff, but that's what we use to bring these creatures to life. So, motion capture. What'd you say? Are we hiring? We're always looking. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of motion capture out there now. A lot of video games and movies that use motion capture. So we were lucky enough to be able to bring our creatures to life that way.
How many of you guys like to play video games?
I do!
All right. If you played video games, if you love video games, you probably killed this guy in one of those video games.
I've done over 100 video games, so I've worked on Uncharted, God of War, Halo, Star Wars, Force Unleashed, Ghostbusters, Silent Hill. I got to play Pyramid Head and all the creepy creatures in that. So, we have a big and long career working on video games and movies, doing this kind of work. So we like to look at ourselves as the newest breed of monster creators, you know, for this generation, because it's changed from the big heavy suits to motion capture and practical effects, and I mean we all still do makeup as well, and that was things that the director wanted to have in the life of our creature, that we have this experience in practical suits as well as motion capture. So that was really, really interesting for us, and it got to show us off, because we've all done, you know, we've had stuff glued to our face, body, and
between all 4 of us, with motion capture, performance capture, makeup, suits, prosthetics, all of it, I don't know, what would you guys say? Probably over 200 different creatures we've all played combined total.
Oh yeah. If you have 100, then between definitely over a couple hundred. Yeah.
Because we've been in stuff all the way from, you know, short films, video games, VR, music videos, commercials. Like, I guess
Most of the stuff you'll probably never see.
A lot of it you may have never
Hopefully, because I didn't know what I was doing back then. So
Wait,
I'm glad I had practice before I got on a big screen.
But because of you and bringing attention to what we do and being such big fans and like that, it has brought us to the forefront, and people recognize us and are giving us proper credit finally after all these years. So we want to thank you for, without you, we wouldn't be here. So thank you for that.
And that's something too that both Johnny and John and everybody here at this convention has been telling us too, is they want us to all get recognition, and they're all pushing for us to be known. So, it's everyone loves the monster and the creature. It's the best part about any movie, right? Humans are boring.
It just means a lot that all of you are even here, that you want to say hi, that you've come to the table and said hi and given hugs and stuff, and that you're here and you just want to say hi. Like we're nerd fans like anybody else. I'm such a huge nerd. Literally, being 6'9", I'm a huge nerd, and I fan out for a ton of stuff. So it's just awesome to fan out with other people who have such love, and there's nothing but love for everyone here. And I'm having a blast. I'm honored to be here with people who I admire so much and have looked up to their work, and to get to come out here and spend a few days with people is awesome.
I'm kind of curious who is here. What are you guys fans of? Who's anime fans here? Can I see your hands? Cool. Who's a kaiju fan? Badass. Who plays video games here? Okay, is there anything that any of you don't do? This is an awesome crowd. Thank you guys first for making time to come here at the end of a long day of walking, standing, getting bumped, paying a lot of money for food, but enjoying the food anyway because you're starving. It is awesome that you guys are here. Give yourselves a hand. We are happy to see your faces. This is freaking awesome. We're so happy that you guys came to support us in the movie and here at the Houston Pop Culture Anime Expo. And thank you, Anime Matsuri. Thank you very much. Thank you. I love your spirit. You are awesome. Whoosh. But this is what we're talking about. It's that kind of spirit that you guys give to us, and this is why we love our job. Our job kicks ass. We get to walk around pretending to be monsters. That is literally our job, and we have so much fun. We get to do it for video games. We get to voice video games and anime stuff, and I'm just happy to be part of this culture. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome.
You guys show them some love again. Houston loves you guys. So why don't you guys tell us about a day of shooting Godzilla, all the motion capture stuff, the preparations you guys might have to make, and the whole effort that just goes into that. A day about shooting.
I got a fun story. There was once where, I don't remember which of the days it was, but one of them, Mike, the director, had brought his dog in. And it was during a scene where all of us are battling. We have Ghidorah, we're ready to fight. Godzilla is charging at us, and I think we're like snarling, and we might have been crawling. We were crawling and snarling, and we're getting ready to attack. And we were so convincing that the animal instincts of Mike's dog kicked in. And I was so grateful that somebody had the dog on a leash at the moment, because that thing was lunging, and he would have charged if that was not held onto. It was the nicest dog ever, and the moment we stopped, he stopped too, but we definitely tapped into attack mode for him, and he was ready to defend himself against 4 giant humans being monsters. So that was a fun moment on set for sure.
We were very lucky that we got to see the movie prior to working on it, so we knew what was happening. They showed us the movie with previs, so we knew where Ghidorah was and what the intention was, and that was Michael's way of prepping us. So
What's previs?
Previs is where they don't want to spend all the money on the movie right away, so they do an animated version of it so that you can see if this big sequence works or not, and it saves a lot of money for the studio. So the pre-visualization is what it stands for, and so we got to see where where Ghidorah might be, and by being able to see that helped prep us for the shoot. So we knew exactly what we were going into as we rehearsed the scene. What are you doing? So that was really, really interesting. So when we got on set, we knew what scene was coming up. We could talk about it. We could break it down and then go ahead and shoot it. And that was the process for us. It worked really, really fast. So we didn't work on the movie for 48 days like some of the actors, in the big scenes.
Because we're so good, we're one-take wonders.
but having that opportunity, that was our rehearsal and that was our prep for it, and then we could spend time talking to the director and getting exactly what he wanted. Mocap is so different. It's a whole completely different world than like working in the film and TV world, because you're capturing us digitally. And if they like one take, if they like something that the center head did in one take, and then the next take they'd like something that the left head and right head did, they can digitally put us together, but you try to get it all in that one master take all together where it's all synergistic and we're all working together. That was the process for us. I mean, and we've all done this for so long, and that it's like second nature. We just go when it's like action, you go into monster mode. There's that's just the way it works for us. We've been doing it for so long that it's automatic. And plus you're looking at each other going, we're working on Godzilla. Oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, it was really cool because it was just a few days where it was just like scene, and they had the big screen in there, and we would watch it and like for 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds and be like, okay, that's the Godzilla movie, and now we act that out for fun and get paid to do it, and that's going to go in the movie? Okay, this is ridiculous. And you have the visual effects supervisor there who won an Oscar for Life of Pi, Guillaume Rocher, and so you're like, this is going to look flippin' amazing. And Mike Doherty just directing this like a kid who has action figures that are our size and just telling us to smash into each other and being like, you do A, B, C, D, and like, when those two heads are up against the building and the center head's trying to release them from the webbing and then sees Godzilla coming and turns around and we get pushed through boxes onto mats and we're like, and everything and get up and I see like lightning here and I'm like, and then he goes flying back onto another mat. It was just kids.
And we did
having
have
a
cardboard
blast.
box buildings.
Yeah.
We built cardboard boxes.
And just smashed each other into them. And then we're like, great, okay, let's watch the next scene.
Oh, there's a cool
Okay.
thing. You're talking about that scene particularly with the boxes and fighting. We're talking about just how we do it and stuff. There's a scene where TJ was just like, I'll put my fist on your head and you smash it yourself. And so it's that kind of stuff that we did to bring the force and the momentum of it without actually having horns and things to grab onto. And so there's little tricks like that we did that were just tidbits for how we did the motion capture for it.
Oh, there was a funny moment. A couple people came by, I told them about earlier. So something happens, so no spoilers or spoiler, whatever. Something happens to the left head. And at a certain point in the movie, something happens. And the director was like, yeah, so like kind of help him through as something happens and kind of help him through that. So I was like, okay, I don't really know what to, and I didn't know what to do. And then the second, he's like, I don't know, kind of like bite at stuff and kind of clean him, and I was like, cleaning him. Okay, cool.
And you really
so
did.
It was literally a lot of like him kind of doing, and I'm just like, and it was and I was committed. I was like, we're rolling. I got to make this look real, I guess. And the director's like, cut. Yeah, do it again. And just, Jason, just not like, maybe don't lick him. And I was like, you said lick. He's like, yeah, it was weird though. And I was like, I just committed. All right, no licking. And then when we watched the movie, I was like, yeah, he didn't leave any of the licking in. Okay, that didn't make it into the movie, just biting. So there were a lot of funny moments of just like, let's try this and see what works.
Yeah, and you hear that, all his mouth, and your eyes are closed because I'm trying to regenerate, right? And then I'm like, I look, and then you hear Michael go, Richard, close your eyes. I'm like, you have to grow it first before you realize. So it was a lot of that, and you're hearing that. And you're like, what is he doing over there?
And it was cool because now the three of us sat like this in Legendary's offices in a little screening room, watching and be like, oh, and high-fiving. And then TJ hadn't seen anything, and he came on set. So when we watched those scenes, we're like, oh yeah, it's that scene. And TJ was like, what? Are you serious? Oh my gosh, we get to do what? So it was cool to watch him be like, yeah, right? Oh, wait till what comes up in the next shot. So it was cool to watch him, and then we played it out. We got to all play it out together like monsters on the carpet, like when the parents go on like a date at night. We're like, okay, let's move all the stuff out of the furniture, all the furniture out of the living room, and just tackle each other. But we're grown men, adults doing it, and professionally.
Speak
as
for yourself.
65-year-old characters.
TJ, tell us some more about your Godzilla experiences. Were you blown away when you found out you landed that role? What were your initial thoughts? You know, what were some of the process and things you were going through accepting
Did
that role?
any of you guys see Godzilla 2014? Okay, cool. So when they called me into that, I talked to the people who called me into that originally, and I was like, they called me and they're like, hey, could you come down and do work with some of the creature stuff? And you're freaking me out. And so I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll come down. And I teach movement, a certain kind of acting. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna go down and help the people move. That's literally what I thought I was gonna do. So I got down to the place, and I walked into the place, and it was me and two other guys. And my friend turned to us, and he goes, "You're Muto number 1, you're Muto number 2, and you're Godzilla." And I was like, what? And that's how I found out that I was Godzilla. And then we started shooting, and that was the first one. And then we got to come back, and that's a whole nother story for the second one. But there's a company in LA called Fonco, and they built, for this King of the Monsters, they built this beautiful tail, and it fit on me really, really well. And when you walk, it goes, and it's really, really nice. So it helped me get into character, and we got to play. And some of these guys, I think they, just to practice, to wear weights on their legs to make a heavy whoosh. And then they decided eventually, okay, we think.
Too much talking, TJ.
They eventually took the weights off, but at first they had to wear weights on their feet, and oh man, that is unpleasant at first. But pretty soon they learned how to move together, and it looks so wicked when they started moving together. You guys should talk about how you started being tied, and then you figured out that it was better.
I mean, I was in the center, and so we had tied Alan's left ankle to my right ankle, and Richard's right ankle to my left ankle.
It was like
and
a
so
potato sack race.
It was like,
basically.
yeah, it was one of those like rally races, like father and son or something, and like and it wasn't working because we didn't know when we were trying to be like and right and left and
It was
right,
too,
but
like,
it just wasn't
robotic
working.
because
Yeah.
it was like forced metronome.
But we were trying to
like
we're trying to stay together as much as possible,
Yeah.
and it wasn't working. We were kind of like, because we didn't know when someone was stopping and starting, and so eventually we just forgot that. Like the first day was going to be all rehearsrsal. That's what it was on the
Oh
schedule.
yeah, we started filming the first day.
It was the
because we
first day.
just
First day was
were
going to be
getting
all rehearsal, and then 2 days of shooting. And like after a couple hours, we're like, no, let's just shoot. We're like, okay, let's go. All right, we're going to start shooting. But we just got to where they had their hands on my back, and I had like the dots on my on the sensors on my hands and arm were tied to the wings on a monitor we could watch, and like this would like turn the entire wing in, and it was like okay, and like that would like make the entire top thing, so I could kind of try and they just had their hands around my back, and we just locked in. We tried to, make our body from the waist to the head like a snake as best we could, and we just figured it out. I don't know, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, I feel like we
fell into it quickly.
we
with
very
each other.
quickly
Yeah.
did, yeah. I think we just trust. I mean, I just totally trusted what you guys like. Being surrounded, having Richard on my left, having Alan on my right. I was like, I'm taken care of. I'm just gonna. These two dudes are gonna do their thing. TJ's gonna do his thing. I'm just gonna not mess up, and I'll look like I know what I'm doing. But like
Well, you
surrounded by
told me a
them,
cool
they're
story
awesome.
once about the momentum of when you felt us pressing on your back. Do you remember that?
The momentum.
I'll tell Jason's story for him.
Remind me.
It was sometime after filming. It was a day or so, maybe a week. I don't know. He was telling me that he was telling his now wife that he went home and he told her he felt every time we were ready to move or he could feel our anger because our hands would be on his back and he would feel us like clench because we'd start
I
to
could
get angry.
feel your energy through your hand, and it kind of.
Like went
I
up
would
his
kind of
spine
just
in a
feel
way.
it
Yeah.
without thinking about it. Yeah.
And so that to me was cool when you told me that because Richard and I didn't think about that at all because we're like, it was almost subconsciously like, we're his batteries. As we power up, he can feel it and then it energizes and he powers up in almost a weird way. That's kind of how our.
But if you get angry, like your whole
We
body like
clench.
squeezes, and so I could feel that in the hand and like maybe even pushing my back a little bit, and that we just kind of danced together, trying to attack TJ or whatever it was that we were attacking. But all three of us just worked really well together, and then just looking TJ in the eye, and all of us being like, let's kill each other. It was just so much fun.
What did it feel like when all of us were looking at you, ready to fight? Were you intimidated, or did you know you were?
Because we
gonna
go
get us?
full on, like, I'm gonna freaking kill you, man. Like,
It's 3 grown men wearing pajamas. But in your imagination, you can see them, and they're doing all the stuff. I mean, the cool thing is he does this royal flair. He would used to do this with his wings.
oh yeah.
Here he goes again. Here he goes. And this
It
mad
is
guy,
our intimidation.
he'd drop his head and get low at the same time, and I was like, which one am I
mean,
supposed to look at? It was awesome. It was
We
really
could
cool.
kind of show him what that would look like. I mean, with you as well, all of us. I think I'm getting up. So if you don't get up, you guys are just jerks. Like.
No, do it towards them so they can see it.
We haven't done it like a year and a half, but there's something like it. TJ's like 5 or 6 steps up the middle stairs there. Like something like that. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, and then here's a good photo. If you can see what that looks like, that's us.
That's in the mocap suit.
I'm sure it's going to be in an article soon. Someone interviewed us, and it's going to be in an article. Yeah.
Just come see me after the event.
It'll.
Stuff down at their booth. Go check out their booths downstairs. They've got some different autographs, some different posters, and different things from the movie, and some actual merchandise and stuff too. So go downstairs and check out what they have.
And we'll post that stuff online as well soon, like through Instagram. There's an article I think that comes out today that they have some photos like that, so you can grab them once they're online and do whatever.
And as far as where,
Put a derp face on his head or something.
it's on the car show side, the reactors, the cars over there. Their booth is kind of facing that way, so you can find them over there. And then Jason, you were licking. You guys are grabbing each other. Godzilla. Did the dragon? They're just messing with you too, or what?
There was no licking.
There's some tackling.
I got bit a lot.
Tackled a little bit.
Yeah. We there was a really cool scene, and I'd forgotten about it until we got to the movie, where they're stuck against the building, and Mothra has webbed them and stuck them against the building, and they're trying to get free. And I remember rushing them and slamming into them, and we went through a bunch of boxes. And then and then we forgot about it, and then you get to the movie, and you can see that the building is all reflective, and you can see Godzilla's reflection coming towards him, and you can see him going, and it's really cool. It was really, really cool to watch. It's so exciting to relive that, especially as a fan, when you're sitting there and you're just cheering for it. Did anybody go into a theater where they were like cheering, or some people cried in some places? Did anybody go to those? You saw that? So we were in the same kind of thing, and people were like, yes! So it's really, really fun. And I was one of the people. I was like, yes! Oh yeah, I did that. Yeah. But still, yes! It's really, really...
It's like mixed emotions. Like when I watch it, I truly watch it as a fan too. I forget we're in it. But then I also have these memories of when you talk about, I don't know, a family reunion or a party I went to, you remember it in your head, the imagery. So I have this conflicting thing where I'm watching it and I forget we're in it. But at the same time, when these stunts and fights happen, I'm imagining the four of us as humans doing it in my memory. So it's like this weird combo mixed, like, which one was real?
Yeah, to see it on the screen ourselves. We were so lucky to be able to go to a world premiere at one of the greatest theaters in the world, Grauman's, Chinese theater on Hollywood Boulevard. To go to a premiere of a movie is awesome. To go to a premiere of a movie that you're in, that's a world. We were like, holy crap, this is an actor's dream, to do something like that, to be able to be involved in something like that. So we don't take it lightly. You know, we're fanboying and geeking out just as much as everybody else.
Yeah.
And like, this is incredible. And even after the screening, we didn't want to leave. We actually did a big giant circle and came right back to the theater because we were like, I don't want to lose this moment. This is incredible. Like, who knows, will it ever happen again? You know, and just, but for us, it's like, we're part of Godzilla history. That is something.
It's weird.
It's so, it's weird and it's awesome. And it's an experience that, you know, we'll never forget.
I don't think you guys will let us forget it, to be honest.
I just pulled up the email as well just to look when we shot, because it was like a year and almost
February
4 months ago.
2018.
It was February 12th, 13th, and 14th of last year that we did those. So by the time we saw the movie, we were like, oh yeah, just remember the, yeah, and like we just, and we were just, because we'd forgotten so much stuff, because it was just 3 days of like, done, next scene. And it's like, I don't even remember everything that happens. And it was like, oh yeah, I can kind of tell that stuff, that we dodged, and that's so cool. And it was, we're just huge, as you can tell, we're huge nerds. We're just huge nerds.
We want to collect
wanna
our
go
own
see it
action
again right
figures. That's the kind of like fans we are. Is we're like, when we see the merch that you guys see, we're like, where'd you buy that? I think I've actually asked a number of people on Twitter, like, oh, look at this new figure. It's so cool. I go, awesome. Can you send me a link? Because I want to buy one too.
Yeah, it was really interesting to be able to wait that long and not talk about it, because an article came out and named us, and we're like, oh, maybe we can talk about it now. And you know, Legendary says nope. No, save it, you know. And so we were sitting on this information for a long time, and you just kind of go, okay, did my job, and I just let it go, because, you know, but people are calling us and tweeting us, and they're like, can you do an interview? And we're like, we want to so bad, but we can't, because we don't want to ruin it for you, the fans. You know, you know, we already know how the movie is going to turn out.
We knew a year and a half ago.
I had the same experience. I worked on the movie The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis, and
Who?
some guy.
What happens at the end?
So I worked on The Sixth Sense, and I was in a scene where Bruce Willis is in the restaurant talking to his wife, and they said to us that day, he's not here, he's dead. You know, so nobody sees him. You can't see him. You can't. So I knew the end of the movie. I knew he was dead. So I was sitting on a spoiler for years, like, oh no. And when the movie came out, I was in the theater like, okay, he's dead. I knew everything. So we work on something like this, and we know what's going on, and we can't talk about it. So you try to forget, you know, but we want to retain those memories of the experience for ourselves, which is, you know, we're like every day. I mean, we still tweet and we text each other like Ghidorah all the time. Every day somebody says something stupid.
With all the cool things you guys put out there.
Yes,
It's cool how all
Kevin
of us are
loves
able
you.
to talk about it, though. All of us knew, and we were like, "Oh man, it's coming up," and then we're going to get to go do conventions together, and then the premiere, we're all going to the premiere, and so it's cool that like we all got to kind of share that secretly and like not tell anybody else. And people are like, "Who's gonna win, Ghidorah, Godzilla?" And part of me is like, "Who do you think is gonna win?" I mean, come on. What's the title of the next movie? It's not Ghidorah versus Kong. It's Godzilla, but I was like, well, I can't tell you. But I think I was like, we'll just find out. Or I like to be like, I don't know. You can't tell from the trailer. It's kind of hard to tell. I guess I'll have to see it. I don't know.
Or who survives all of the other Godzilla movies?
So the motion capture actors they're a tight-knit family. Was this the first time you guys worked all together?
For me, I had never met any of them. I was aware of you guys because of your work, but I had never worked with anyone. So I met all three of them on this gig, because I do mainly practical stuff. I've only done 2 mocap gigs, George and Rampage and Godzilla. So I was very new to, I mean, it's all acting. There are certain technical things you have to know that are helpful. Just like when you're on set, you need to stand on your mark, you need to know the frame of the shot and all this and that and everything. But I got to meet all these guys and become friends with everybody on this for the first time. And now we get to
He thinks
hang
we're
out.
friends.
Hey, shut up. But yeah, and we poke each other all the time. We just poke fun at each other. We just love each other. lick each other's faces.
But the rest of us, we knew each other from different circles and training and stuff like that. So we were aware of each other, but working on an actual professional job with the four of us together, it was the first time. But it felt like truly like I feel like we'd all had been doing it for so long, just because we all worked so well together and we knew each other's next move. And like one of these two just mentioned how since we play so many creatures, we fall right into it. And for us, it's so easy to just fall in, especially since we all do this kind of work. Nobody's laughing, nobody's like, he's a monster. You know, we're all like, oh yeah, we're monsters. That's what we do.
You're making like a scary face at me. I couldn't take you seriously. It's like, no, we're like super serious.
Like on a lot of shoots, the most notorious thing is whenever it's lunchtime, and if you're in prosthetics and stuff, there's always a picture, the monster eating with a fork and a spoon. And it's so, you're just like, yep, that's what I'm doing.
You get to know each other so well on a set, though, because you're just hanging out, acting together, hanging out, chilling while they're setting up the next take and everything for hours. Like, you come out of the first date, and it's like you went on, like, 10 dates together. Like, you're just all friends. Like, you all know each other so well, and you're like, well, let's all ask about each other's lives. And so, like, you can become friends with someone in one day on a set and get to know someone so well. Especially if it's like a 15-hour day. Again, get to know each other. Whatever, Alan.
Well, it's true because we're snarling and we're growling and we're spitting and like you spit, you know.
We were covering each other with spit and
We're
sweat.
spitting on each other and you're like, rah! And you're doing all this stuff. And then it isn't like, oh, I'm sorry. It's like, that was good. That was really good, you know. So
I want to tell a story you guys have heard before of spitting.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I did one job. It was for a film called The Woods by Sugar Pine 7. They're like a YouTube channel. And they did, some people know it. I play the creature in that. Did you see that? Whoever clapped? No? Okay. Well, there's a monster in it. And there's a scene where right before I take, they just filled my mouth with blood. And they wanted me to like claw the guy's neck and snarl, and they wanted blood to fling everywhere. But sometimes when you're on set, especially when it's practical stuff, there's a lot of waiting time. It's hurry up and wait. So they put the blood in my mouth, and me, I like to have things extra gory. So I'm always like, more. Usually the makeup artist has like a little tiny cup, and I go, just give me the bottle. And I love just going nuts. So I had it in there, and then I waited 15 minutes, which is a long time to hold stuff in your mouth. Your saliva grows. So there was more saliva than blood at this point. And I'm ready to go. They finally get to it. They call, all right, action. And I slash his throat and snarl. But the actor who, when I slashed him, rightfully so, he's like screaming, ah! The blood goes not anywhere on him, but directly in his mouth. And it was great because as soon as they called cut, I was like, I'm so sorry, dude. And he was like, it's okay, it was a good take. And that's the one they used in the movie.
So now you all have to see it.
Yes. And if you go to our booth, there's a picture of that exact moment. And like as our options of things that you can get signed, and it's my snarl spitting into someone's mouth moment. Ew.
So I'm going to grab a couple of questions from the audience. Let's go. Who has a question?
Got hands over here. We got all kinds of hands now.
Oh, that was loud.
We got Ash.
Is she doing it? Yeah.
Ash.
I didn't really have much of a question, but I want you to talk about your movie, Evil Bong.
So, I play a lot of practical creatures. I've done a lot more practical than motion capture. And if you include all the short films, features, commercials, music videos, everything, I've played roughly 60-ish different creatures, non-human characters. One of them that he's talking about is a franchise called the Evil Bong franchise. And there are 7 Evil Bong movies, but there were also, I believe, 4 or 5 Ginger Dead Man movies, and they emerged with Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong. So combined, it's like 10 movies or something. And say what? They did it before Marvel, just to let you guys know. And so I play the lips of the Ginger Dead Man and the Ginger Weed Man So in this movie, there are puppets. There's a ginger dead man and a ginger weed man. And there's a puppet, a voice, and a lip actor. And I play the mouth of these movies. And what they do is they paint my mouth to look like the puppet, and then they superimpose it with tracking and VFX onto the puppet in post. Kind of like how, have you guys ever seen Annoying Orange? Just like that. But the thing is, that's interesting, is I don't puppet it and I don't voice it. I am only the lips. So this is a big joke that I am the lips of the characters in 3 Evil Bong movies. And this gentleman was more excited about Evil Bong when he met me than Godzilla.
He recognized your lips.
Thank you, sir.
Can I ask 2 questions?
Sure.
Okay. Even though they got really little screen time, did other Titans like Scylla, Methuselah, Behemoth, and the third Muto get actors too? Or
That's a great question. No, it was Mothra didn't have an actor. It was just Ghidorah.
Well, Richard and I played another
Oh, that's
kaiju.
true. Oh, that is true. That is true.
So at the end, spoiler. When everybody's bowing to the king, the true king, Jason portrayed Rodan.
That's where
during the
Rodan
bow.
came in, yeah.
And then Rich and I played other kaiju doing our bow as well. But I don't believe we're specified a specific kaiju. I'm pretty sure on the screen it was Muto or something, but like I think it was just generic creature bow. And so we did portray them for that moment.
Yeah, so we weren't sure.
Use your mic.
It's out. My mic is out there. We weren't sure who we were going to play, so we assumed different positions where we would be
we just crouched differently.
Quadruped creatures, or you would try to do different moves because we didn't know how many were going to end up bowing. So, you're like, Muto, what do you do?
Yeah.
Things like that. So
We
we did play
monster.
generic monster, not knowing what he was going to put in there.
and also, so the 3 heads on Ghidorah have different personalities. Was that like improv, or did they tell you the personalities, or was that like decided afterwards?
That's a really great question. Mike Doherty, the director, told me first time he talked to me about him, like center head's like alpha, big brother, leader of the 3. Right head is just crazy, wild card, ferocious. You don't know what he's going to do. Left head's just like kind of more curious and inquisitive. And so he gave us those personalities from the get-go to be able to play with. That's a really good question.
But the cool thing was we did improv a little. I feel like that was,
yeah.
the stunts and fights were very scripted out. It was specific stuff to do. But the way we interacted with each other based on what Mike wanted us to do, that was he suggested things like do the licking or sniff each other, be more inquisitive. But we did improv with each other in a way where, I never told them this, but in my head, my backstory was I actually wished I was the alpha. And anytime Jason would command us, he would look this way and tell us to move forward. Richard would obey like Kevin does. What? I would take a moment to just in my head be like, oh, I already planned on it. And then I'd move, and so I had these internal thoughts of, thanks, Alpha. I was almost like jealous and angry at him for being the taller center one.
It's too bad.
Thank you.
Yeah, but who survives?
Someone have another question?
Kevin!
So aside from like the kaiju that you guys play individually, who would you say is if you've seen like all the old movies and everything, which one's your favorites?
Megalon.
That's a good one.
When I was really, really young, the very first movie that my father ever took me to see was a movie called Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. And that is what I started with. That is the very first thing I saw on a big screen. Yeah, no, give it up. It burnt Godzilla into my brain, and I'm lucky enough to get to continue that playtime. But
Do you
it's
think it was
amazing.
because it was the first one you saw?
I am doing this today? I don't know. I have no idea, but it's awesome.
I would say like Mega Godzilla because I was really an Ultraman fan. So anything that had robots or that kind of version, I thought was awesome. Yeah.
I would have to say with my time researching Gorillas, Kong. I would have to go with Kong, and so I'm really interested to see what happens in the next movie. Hey, you can, all right? I love gorillas. I love gorillas. They're so sweet.
I wonder
But
why.
it's hard to pick. I mean, look at all the Titans. I mean, it's like I love them all. It's not like I mean, well, really, I guess outside of Ghidorah, I don't know. I mean, they're so awesome. It's 65 years of like pick the best. It's like it's like plays.
Gamera.
They're just awesome. Gamera, like there's too many. They're all awesome, and I'm glad they all exist.
So I saw a lot of reviews on the movie that there wasn't enough human drama. What would you guys say to that?
There's a really good story of Steven Spielberg, and when Gremlins was getting made, then the studio execs being like, "Nah, the Gremlins, there's too many Gremlins in it," and it just kind of like it's kind of dumb, and Spielberg evidently like was like, "No, yeah, you're right, we should take all the Gremlins out and call it humans." That's my comment on that.
Enough said.
To add to that, I mean, if you're a Godzilla fan, you generally go to see monsters fighting. And I think Michael Dougherty delivered that. I think we delivered that. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. In Godzilla 2014, we gave you the human drama. And the Godzilla fans were like, "Where's the monsters?" And that's cool. We had to build up to it. You finally got the monsters in the end, and that's cool. But this time, we gave you monsters and battle, and I hope you guys dug it.
I have one question for everyone real quick. Everyone on the count of 3, yell out your favorite kaiju or titan. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah. Very, totally.
Yes, it is. Mine is kind of a two-part question, but also something that was also especially added in the film that I did see that got applause both times I saw the film. As the credits were rolling, in memory were 2 figures of the kaiju era film industry that sadly passed away during the year. And I'm glad you guys added that. That was awesome. I mean, the audience applauded both times I went and saw that film at that ending. My question, though, of course, then is, did you guys also get any of the previous suit actors from any of the previous films to give you advice? Because there was word Andy Serkis helped on the 2014 film with tips, but I was wondering, did you guys get any of the actual costume actors who were from the original films to come and do that? Because they like showing people who I know go to conventions dressed up as Godzilla, and they're going to be like, "No, you don't do that. Get down." And they keep doing it over and over at our conventions. So I was just wondering, I never heard if you guys got somebody from there to give you guys advice on being the monsters.
No, I had never had any interaction with anyone. No, I mean, that would have been amazing. It wasn't really our decision, but there's obviously a huge amount of respect and adoration for anyone that came before us that had anything to do. I mean, it's an honor to get to consider ourselves like in the lineage.
We're all jealous. We all wish we were in suits.
Well, yeah, that would have been really cool if they did some old school way like that. But no, they brought us in and they directed us and helped us see their vision for Mike's vision for King of the Monsters. It's a great question, though.
And okay, and that leads to the second part. If you did, they did, if you, Legendary was able to get another big monster mash, like a Destroy All Monsters, where they just have to put in 20 actors to play 20 monsters. Would you be willing to consider, say, maybe we should consult with whoever's still around doing these suits? Would you want to ask? Would you guys ask any advice from them to do?
We would never turn it away.
No, yeah, that'd be amazing.
The difference is because of the way the process, the movie making process now, with the digital motion capture and things like that, we aren't restricted the way those actors were in a physical suit. You know, I mean, you know, to be able to create the weight of Godzilla, you know, that was on TJ's shoulder, and he had to carry that character. I mean, that's why he's back as him. You know what I mean? He did a great job the first time around. So why would you not bring him back when we're using this kind of technology? We also want. You know, we will take as much information and as much help as people want to give us, but because it's a new technology, those guys had never done motion capture. So, you know, putting weights on and trying, it's a different time, and you know, it was a chance for us to also create our version of it, which is a creative process for us. But you know, we would never turn it away. It's like, why would we do that? Yeah, we wouldn't say no.
Because it's like when we all booked a job, we all did like our homework. We would watch the old movies. But for me personally, it was less about watching it for the movement, because clearly the movement would never be the same. For me, it was the character. It was the intention and the decision of why or how you'd look at what, based on what previous, from us, Ghidorah would have done. And I imagine TJ probably did similar with Godzilla, because he's going to walk differently than you would in a suit, just because we're not in a suit, you know? So it's just so different. Yeah.
I will say this about it, though. The suit actors, it's been 65 years of Godzilla in suits. So that informs our movement. We absolutely respect those actors that came before us. And they built Godzilla before we were ever there. And when I say they, I don't only mean the suit actors, I mean the writers that imagined it, the artists that did the concept art, the suit builders. All of those people get mad respect. You probably never think of them, but you guys who cosplay, you understand suit building. You know how hard that is. To make a movie-ready suit is no small feat. And for the actor to get into that, for them to get zipped up and locked in, they're wearing 100, 200 pounds that does not breathe, not even a little bit. A lot of those actors used to pass out while they were shooting Godzilla. So when you see them and you see that posture bent over like this, half of it is that's the best way they can wear the weight. Yeah, and they're exhausted, and their back is getting tired. So at some point, this became natural. It might have started like this, but with all of that weight on them, at that time, especially before the construction became, you know, better with 3D printing and all of that stuff, the suits were really heavy and uncomfortable. So after 60 years of suit people in front of us, look, we all saw Godzilla 2000. That creature did not move like the Godzilla you guys know. You remember the American Godzilla. Did you guys see it? Are you excited about it as I was? Oh, I can hear it, yeah. So it moved totally different, right? And that, for a lot of people, they would say, that's not our Godzilla in the 2000s. So we looked at the Godzillas, the Ghidorahs before us, and we said, oh, that's Godzilla. That's Ghidorah. And so when we see that, even though we don't have to wear that same suit, we brought that performance back. So when you're seeing us do that, I'm imagining the dude, and I'm also imagining the real monster. And it makes sense, right? But that is 60 years of the people before us giving us Godzilla and an awesome legacy that we can watch still today.
All right, guys, last question.
All right, so this one's a bit of a fun one. If you could pick any actor to voice your character or your head, Which actor would you pick to voice them?
Us.
Samuel L. Jackson.
If we're going that route, then I want one of the heads to be Jim Carrey.
No, but the left head would be Christopher Walken. Oh my God, come on. Why not, little man? Left head.
Oh my God, I have no idea. I can go with a ridiculous answer, or I could go with a real answer.
This is serious.
Jeremy Irons. Scar. He plays Scar in Lion King. Jeremy Irons as the center head. Or Andy Serkis, because he can just melt into any character, and I'm like, that's Andy Serkis? That's Gollum, and that's what? Are you serious? That'd be really funny if it was Gollum.
Christopher Walken and Jim Carrey. Master's our friend. Battling Samuel L. Jackson.
Get your ass back in the ice.
Jack Black as the center head. Jack Black. What? Yeah, we have to cast it all from actors in Kong. That'd be really good.
Oh, hey, Ghidorah.
Who would you want as the heads and as Godzilla? Derek, who?
I have no idea.
I don't think this movie should be made.
I'm kind of all for it.
Although I would like to see it, yeah.
I'm going to do a Facebook Live with all you guys behind there, but first I'm going to have them turn around and get a picture with you guys all behind there, and then I'm going to do the Facebook Live.
Let me move out of the picture. No, I'm going to stay.
Did you guys enjoy that panel?